Transferido.
Good evening, Dr. Ackroyd. I have learned of the unfortunate fate of our colleague.
So, you already know. We're collecting money for his family. To have a proper burial in the current climate is a challenge.
I am surprised about your reaction to Dr. Strickland's death, considering your disagreement with him.
Strickland was young and idealistic, but he had a lifetime to become a great practitioner. He was just lacking insight, and we'll miss him.
It's a shame he can't hear you, don't you think?
Remorse is a luxury we cannot allow ourselves. Once this epidemic is defeated, we'll take time to mourn fallen colleagues.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all.
Do you need my assistance?
Not at all. I'm sure that you are used to gaining people's trust with your impressive skills. Well, it will not be the case with me.
The death of Dr. Strickland also means the end of his research on the Spanish flu.
It's a good thing, I suppose. Unlike others, I would never have reported him.
You liked him. Admit it.
I'll admit nothing. Strickland was taking too many risks at a critical time. That's not medicine. That's gambling. Gambling with people's lives.
What do you think of Dr. Tippett's opinion of your promotion, Waverly?
I'll admit I feel uneasy obtaining a position due to my rival's death. It's not something that really sits well with me.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
I don't see any reason why I should justify my actions to you.
That's true, Dr. Reed. The only judge has to be yourself. The question is, are you judging yourself hard enough?
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
You are going to change your tone with me, my dear colleague, and very quickly.
I don't think so. Perhaps you think yourself protected by Dr. Swansea, but I am still a free man, and I will speak to you the way I want. Who will take care of poor Mr. Fiddick now? And what about all the others?
Don't worry. I'll take care of another.
Good evening, Mr. Gosling.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
How are you feeling tonight?
As selfish as it sounds, the death of my mother forced me to stop drowning in self-loathing. It's almost like she saved me after all.
Do you really feel better since your mother died, Mortimer? Or are you just more adept at hiding your despair?
I'm beyond despair, Doctor. But I know now I will not try to kill myself again. It's like the loss of my mother gave meaning to my pain.
Can't you see you're still using her? Now you're using her death to justify your pain.
What kind of monster are you, Dr. Reed? To deliver such an awful diagnosis?
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about a feeling of utter despair, of the world crumbling around you. Do you still feel these things?
Yes. When I saw my dead mother, I realized why she feared so much to see me dead. Because she could not bear the pain. I get it now.
What do you get?
That mankind is as selfish as it is generous. As a species, we all are as beautiful as we are disgusting.
What is your plan now your mother is gone?
In fact, I truly don't know. Oh, I've been a terrible son. But now I'm feeling more alone than ever. And I don't know what is waiting for me next.
It's the same for us all, Mortimer.
I don't know if I'll ever have my mother's strength. But I can try.
Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer?
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't belong here.
And why do you think you don't belong here?
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here who need their attention.
Why stay here, since you're feeling better?
I must admit I feel comfortable around here, despite the epidemic and all the sick people. Actually, I feel like I could help finance this place.
Finance the hospital? That's quite generous of you.
Let me be frank with you, Dr. Reed. I hope this cash injection will incite the hospital administration to forget about my situation.
I suspect you're not from the East End. Where are you from?
I've always lived in my mother's house, by Holland Park Avenue. I don't know if I'll go back there now, not after everything. Is to feel nothing at all. I know that now.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
I have a lot to do, Dr. Reed. If there's something you need, ask. Otherwise, I must get back to work.
Do you require medical...
Thank you for your...
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused the death of a patient.
It doesn't matter anymore. Yes, he made a mistake and I covered it up. But his skills are what this hospital needs the most.
Do you realize what would happen to your career if someone found out about it?
From my point of view, this is exactly why Dr. Swansea appointed me. I thought about those who still needed Corcoran's skills.
Perhaps you're right. We all have to live with what we've done. Your secret is safe with me.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I know I can trust you.
Would you like to talk about the death?
Please. Call it a murder. A murder inside the walls of this hospital. And no one seems to care about it.
I don't sense sadness in your voice, Miss Brannigan. So what is it?
Oh, I didn't even get to pay my respects. His only son came when I was sleeping. Then he was gone. The ceremony is in Birmingham.
You've been asked to replace Corcoran during this critical time, Miss Brannigan. That means you have duties to this hospital.
Mourning is a luxury I can't afford. I'm sure Corcoran would have understood. Practice meant everything to him.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
It isn't invisible.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Is anyone particularly noteworthy, then?
Nobody. Since Dr. Tippett is gone.
How are you dealing with your new position, Nurse Brannigan? And should I still address you as nurse?
Yes, you can. And I hold fast. You don't have to worry about me, Doctor.
You don't sound particularly pleased by your new position, Nurse Brannigan.
It took an epidemic and the death of my mentor to show what I'm capable of. How could I be anything but happy?
I'm not worried, but you seem tired.
I'm fed up of all the gossip. I realize now that I'll have to prove myself far more than before.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused the death of a patient.
It doesn't matter anymore. Yes, he made a mistake and I covered it up. But his skills are what this hospital needs the most.
Do you realize what would happen to your career if someone found out about it?
From my point of view, this is exactly why Dr. Swansea appointed me. I thought about those who still needed Corcoran's skills.
Perhaps you're right. We all have to live with what we've done. Your secret is safe with me.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I know I can trust you. Liar! Snake! I had proved my value. I could have done so much more.
Kill you!
vampires are so weak!
So feeble. Still hungry.
Give me your...
That's it.
Your father and I have spoken about your fiancé, Mary. We believe he'll be an honorable husband for you. We'll set a date for the marriage then. That way, I'm sure one of my children will give me grandchildren. I understand your thirst for knowledge, Jonathan, and your father and I are proud of it. But you are not that young anymore, my son. When will I meet your soulmate? You can ascribe my romantic tendencies to my French origins if you want, Aubrey. But I'll never cease to believe in a match made in heaven, my beloved.
I really wish you could meet her mother. You would love her.
Your sweet boy.
I remember Sunday walks in the park. Good evening, Avery.
Mr. Jonathan, I can't believe my own eyes. Oh, it's a miracle. We all thought you were... Oh, sir, your poor sister. What a tragedy.
I know, Avery. I know about my sister's murder.
Miss Reed expected you to return to assist with the funeral, right up until the last minute. Where have you been, Mr. Jonathan? We needed you here.
How is my mother?
Not well, I'm afraid, sir. Miss Reed is very fragile since the police brought her back home.
The police? What happened?
Miss Reed was found walking in the streets. She kept saying she had spoken with her son and daughter. She's resting now.
Has she received appropriate medical care?
I'm taking care of Miss Reed myself. Hospitals are so overwhelmed by the epidemic that they can only accept patients infected by influenza.
Perhaps we could arrange a short trip. Somewhere sunny, like France. She has always been very fond of France. I think leaving London could do her good.
I'm afraid Miss Reed is too frail for the moment. Recently, she started going out at night without remembering it. I have to watch her carefully.
Tell me the truth, Avery. Do you feel forced to stay here? Would you leave this house without the arrangement made by my father?
No, sir. I have nowhere else to go. And I promised your father I'd take care of his family as long as I live.
This house is dead, Avery. There is a curse on this family. You really should consider leaving.
If only you could have been here sooner or more often. Maybe this house would not be that empty. But you're here now, sir, so my task is not over.
You have served this family extremely well, Avery. Your support during these terrible times is much appreciated.
Then I will stay. All I ask is that you take care of my own funeral if I die before the end of the epidemic. No mass grave, please, sir.
Do you really think I don't take enough care of my mother, Avery?
Yes, I do, Mr. Jonathan.
You clearly have something more to say. Speak your mind, Avery.
I know you work hard to help the sick, but what will you do once the epidemic is over?
This is not my home anymore. Too many bad memories. Too many tragedies. I believe we should sell it and move far from here.
I'm afraid selling the house would only lead to another tragedy. I beg you to reconsider your decision.
Do you know my mother speaks to the dead members of this family?
Yes. I sometimes hear her speaking to you, Miss Mary, and her baby. Sometimes your father, too.
So she thinks I'm also dead. And what about you?
I believe she only sees her relatives as the dead she speaks to, Mr. Jonathan. It breaks my heart to see Miss Reed like that.
My mother is gone, Avery. Whatever illusions have clouded her mind, they are too deeply rooted for any hope of recovery.
I beg to differ, Mr. Jonathan. Your mother has always been strong. She will get better with time.
I found an old letter written by my father and addressed to me. Do you know anything about it, Avery?
Your father wanted me to give you this letter for your 35th birthday, but you left for the war, and the letter remained in his office until tonight.
I realize now you knew my father better than I did. Do you know why he left, Avery? Did he ever speak to you about his departure?
No, sir. Mr. Reed was not exactly forthcoming. Perhaps this letter will give you the information you require.
I'm sorry I could not be here for Mary's funeral.
Your mother was strong, sir, but your support would have been appreciated. Apart from the priest and I, no one else attended your sister's funeral.
To be present at the funeral with you both was my dearest wish, Avery. But I'm sorry, I simply could not attend.
I would not dare to question your absence, Mr. Jonathan. All I can say is that we missed you a great deal during these difficult days.
What is the situation in this part of town?
For a time, the West End seemed spared by the epidemic. But the situation is getting much worse.
Have you no relatives anywhere? I'll understand if you want to take a few days to see family.
Your father managed to guarantee my earnings as long as I take care of this house, sir. My sisters are dead, and I've never met my nephews. I'll stay, sir.
Goodbye, Avery. Please watch over my mother until I return.
Of course, Mr. Jonathan. But please return as soon as possible.
Mother, good evening.
Jonathan! Is it you? Where have you been, my prodigal son?
I'm right here, Mother. I'm finally home.
Yes, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now found. But where is your sister? Where is Mary?
Mary? She is gone, Mother.
I know she's gone. The question is, when will she return as you have? I miss my grandson so much. It's been days since their last visit.
Do you need my medical attention, Mother?
Oh, you know I always refused to let you listen to my chest, son. It always seemed awkward, even when I felt ill.
I think you should take this. You'll feel better.
I'm not sure I'll ever feel better, but...
Goodbye, Mother. Try to rest now.
Goodbye, son. Please come back soon.
I had almost forgotten I applied for a position at Pembroke. It was so long ago.
Are you from Ascalon?
Do not cough in public.
Southwark. My departure for France as a promising student. My return as a brilliant surgeon. About to be killed. Transformed.
Christ! He's dead!
It's 2 millennia.
Better go home. Burn it, boys!
Where have you gone, Elizabeth? I have a bad feeling about this.
You feed! Listen!
You did better than the other one. Even if all you did was delay the inevitable. I commend you for holding out as long as you have. Feel bad for them. What will London have to say to me?
Kill him! No!
This is no place to joke on fucking face! He's dead!
And you're next. That it? Pathetic.
Over there!
We have a killer!
Best be moving on.
Bloody monster!
Sorry, sir, no one is. It's one of them! He's still fucking fast! Fancy clothes! It's on it! It's on it! Eat this! Oh, that's kind of smart. Where to go? Don't like that, do ya?
Love that.
Bloody monster!
Juicy steak. Delicious.
This is no place for a gentleman. Last warning! Die!
You're in the way, filth.
A leech! A leech! Shit, that leech is fast! Step away, sir.
Steady, boys, we've got one of them! Fuck, it's one! I'll kill it!
stupid beast!
I'll kill you!
Good evening, Miss Teasdale. How have you been since you returned home?
Dr. Reed. Oh, thank God you returned safely from these awful streets. I was so worried about my father that I left without thanking you properly.
Please don't mention it, miss.
Good. I found him, you know. My dad. Or what was left of him. I think my abductor intended to do the same thing to me.
Why did your father feel guilty? He seemed so eager to welcome you back, as though he'd done something wrong.
Last time we saw each other, we had a terrible argument. I left the house and ended up in a pub. That's where the vampire met me. Dead drunk.
I see.
We argued a lot, me and Dad. But I always came home. I'm sure that's why he went to find me. He knew something bad had happened.
Your father never gave up on you. In the end, he risked everything to save the daughter he loved.
Yeah, that was my dad. Tough bastard, just like me. Even if I'd broken his leg, he would have gone looking for me.
What do you mean?
That last argument we had, it was more of a fight, actually. He slapped me and I kicked him hard in the balls.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale.
These leaflets were telling the truth all along.
Good evening.
Can I help?
What can you tell me about Aloysius Dawson?
Never heard of him.
Really? He's very well known in London. Throughout the country, even.
He a big shot or something? Never interested in politics myself. All words and no action.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale.
It's always been your house, Dad. Not mine.
Support the equality between men and women. Women of all countries.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
So,
Oh, yes, I can't thank you enough.
You disgusting pig. People are dying of hunger and poverty in this very city while you eat your fancy meals.
Your words hurt, Doctor. I thought you and I were friends. But since you ask, I'm rich enough to finance my passions. And various charities across the city.
Perhaps my words were too harsh. Please forgive me if I've upset you.
Oh, no harm done. After I die, all my fortune will go to the suffering people of the East End. Until then, I aspire to live the most pleasant life possible.
Calhoun, tell me about your relationship with Doris Fletcher.
Oh, Doris. Cold fire and burning ice trapped in a perfect body. Our passion was as intense as it was brief. What an actress.
How did you meet her?
On a boat to France before the war. She was thinking about a career in Paris, and I was eager to try French gastronomy. We both returned disappointed.
I expect you've seen her on stage, too.
She really is the best actress of her generation. Such frailty and such strength at the same time. I hope she'll play again soon. She's been away for too long.
You sound surprisingly sad. Have you regrets?
I think of her as a divine dish. I'm glad I was able to taste it, but I regret I could only get a bite of her mystery.
You really loved her then?
She fascinated me, Dr. Reed. I can't imagine what she must have endured through her life to reach such a level of emotion and sensibility.
Have you any news on Aloysius Dawson?
I will never see him again in my shop, it seems. I did not realize how much his health had deteriorated. In the end, not even money can protect you from death.
In the end, not even money.
Goodbye, Mr. Russell. I'm sure you'll take care of yourself.
The night is so peaceful. I understand exactly what happened.
Dr. Reed, still conducting your nocturnal survey?
Have you recent news of Aloysius Dawson?
I just heard he finally died. We all have to go one day, do we not, Dr. Reed?
Is it true you were dropped in rank? Tell me about it.
Yes, it is. I made a terrible mistake. I deserved it. Sometimes I think I should have resigned.
So why are you still working here?
Because I'm a damn fine copper. I just don't want to have someone innocent hung again by mistake because of me.
The death penalty is not an efficient deterrent. I sometimes think it pushes criminals to more violence, since they know they have nothing to lose.
I agree. I'm convinced all civilized nations should abolish the death penalty. Maybe after the war, once that bloodshed is over, the survivors will change that.
Why do you think there shouldn't be a death penalty?
I believe no one should decide to take a man's life. Not a nation or a government.
Are you a pacifist, Inspector?
No, sir. But I believe in divine justice. Only God has the right to decide who will live and who must die.
Do you need medical attention, Inspector?
I'm afraid I may have caught something. I don't feel too well.
You'll quickly feel better after taking this.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I really appreciate it.
What are you really doing here?
I told you. I'm a detective inspector from Scotland Yard, investigating suspicious cases in the area.
Do you work alone?
Yes. The situation is difficult for the police. Many of us are sick, and since the summer strike, most men apply a work to rule on their patrols.
What about the situation in the East End? Why are there no police there to protect the civilians?
I know, it's a shame, but we just don't have enough men to cover the entire city.
Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for.
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal, sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
Is it true you were dropped in rank? Tell me about it.
Yes, it is. I made a terrible mistake. I deserved it. Sometimes I think I should have resigned.
So why are you still working here?
Because I'm a damn fine copper. I just don't want to have someone innocent hung again by mistake because of me.
The death penalty is not an efficient deterrent. I sometimes think it pushes criminals to more violence, since they know they have nothing to lose.
I agree. I'm convinced all civilized nations should abolish the death penalty. Maybe after the war, once that bloodshed is over, the survivors will change that.
Why do you think there shouldn't be a death penalty?
I believe no one should decide to take a man's life. Not a nation or a government.
Are you a pacifist, Inspector?
No, sir. But I believe in divine justice. Only God has the right to decide who will live and who must die. Dr. Reed.
free wind shall prevail!
Good evening, Jonathan Reed. Can I help you in any way?
Have you any news concerning Aloysius Dawson?
What was his last thought, I wonder?
Can you read the cards for me?
The cards have nothing else to tell you.
Goodbye, sir. Until we meet again.
I rarely wander, yet it amuses me to converse with your kind. Oh, and the Empress, again.
London.
We meet again, Mr. Kimura, in a more peaceful situation.
Dr. Reed, still visiting London by night?
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I. After your captivity, I thought you'd be more cautious.
Breathing the cold night air helps calm my mind, sir. I've had the most frightening nightmares since I escaped that filthy jail.
Goodbye, Mr.